As you may know, on Tuesday, the September 28th, the world will mark the International Day to the Universal Access to Information. In Uganda, the Access to Information Act was enacted in the year 2005 and enabling regulations put in place in the year 2011. That's about 10 years ago. But its implementation has faced major challenges. Please note that the Access to Information Act provides for the right of access to information pursuant to Article 41 of the Constitution, and it prescribes the classes of information referred to in the article, the procedures for obtaining access to information, and related matters. The Act also applies to all information and records of government ministries, departments, local governments, statutory corporations, bodies and commissions, and other agencies and organs of government.
So briefly about our work, we are in the business of generating credible research evidence for advocacy. And when we do that, we use it to raise the citizens' voices through stories in the media or directly having conversations with the government officials. And we believe this actually contributes to access to information. And this in many ways explains our long history with collaborating and partnering with the media. For the last 8 years, we have supported various media houses and journalists for two main reasons. First, to improve, and secondly, to increase the quality of reporting using citizen data. And of course, for us, this is about the citizens' experiences in terms of service delivery, the citizens' perceptions and opinions on a number of things.
As we celebrate and commemorate the International Day for Universal Access to Information, we are reminded that on a daily basis, millions of people, including women, youth, persons with disabilities, and patients, depend on good journalism to access public information that they need in order for them to live better lives, but also for patients, more especially, to survive. However, a study done by the Africa Freedom of Information Center in 2019 in Uganda revealed that millions of Ugandans neither know their right to information and how to exercise that right through the law, in spite of the existence of many legal instruments and the Constitution guaranteeing that right. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused major disruptions and undermined efforts towards the realization of sustainable development. This, as it may, it has been demonstrated that informed individuals and societies are better prepared to be more resilient to survive the shocks than those who are ill-informed.
I would like to thank African Freedom for Information Center and partners for organizing this seminar to promote the right to know in Uganda. I have learned from the ministry that you have held more such trainings in the past, and some in conjunction with the ministry. This is commendable. I want to appreciate Waweza Africa for partnering with African Freedom of Information Center and the Editors Guild for organizing this training and dialogue on the role of journalists in promoting access to information. I also want to acknowledge that this is very timely, and will go a long way in enhancing professionalism for the media in Uganda.
We are blessed that Uganda has the Access to Information Act, we have the regulations, and we have a national constitution recognizing it. And being the very first country in Eastern Africa to enact the law, we are definitely lucky. But then we go to the conversation of since 2005, where are we in terms of implementation of this law? Like Gilbert will always tell you that we are making progress in enacting an implementation of access to information. That we've now got 26 countries in Africa enacting this, of course us being among those countries. But we still have a long way to go, because out of the 55 member states, we still have 29 that have not. And that is a key job that AFIC and its partners are lobbying for, because since inception of AFIC, when it was only a time when countries had 5 ATI laws, we have now moved to 26 countries. So the journey still continues. I have already stated that we have legislation in Uganda that recognizes this right. But I also want to emphasize to you that this right is very significant, and its significance has been demonstrated by the fact that almost every instrument at the African Union mentions that access to information is a key right. It is what establishes the African Union itself. That is why you have the African Commission. That's why you have the Ministry of ICT and national guidance to ensure that there is oversight and implementation of that very important right. And it's important because it does so many things. You need to work as a journalist, and you need to work effectively. You have heard about misinformation. It has already been talked about here. And when there is misinformation, I am going to get the story. I am also going to carry it to someone else, because remember, forgive me, I'm going to remove this mask because I'm not talking well. Remember, you as a journalist, you oversee everything. You're not an employee of anyone, but it is just implied that you are the people who communicate for government itself. If there were no journalists and we only had the Ministry of ICT, how would we even know that they exist? It's because you are there, and that is why we know this information. So you really play that key role as journalists. But for you to play that key role, you need information. And we also need information as citizens to verify that story that you are telling us.
One of the objectives of this act is to empower the citizens to promote transparency and accountability in the working of public authorities. But is this being achieved? Clearly, from the presentations we've had this morning, I don't think so. Maybe not. We could judge after this meeting. And here's why this has not been achieved largely. Part of it has been alluded to by Susan, that although Uganda was among the first African countries to enact a right to information law, and later, of course, the Access to Information regulations in 2011, and that significant strides have indeed been taken by government through a number of programs and initiatives to promote access to information, access to information still remains a big challenge, Honorable Minister. And this is because of some of the reasons that we've indicated. Some my colleagues will probably bring them up later. We appreciate some of the programs put in place, like the Government Citizens Integration Center to enhance monitoring of service delivery, the establishment of the Ask Your Government portal, whose effectiveness is still very questionable. The other challenge, Honorable Minister, is the ignorance of the law and its relevance. Of course, the bureaucracy, there's no question about that, and many more. But as we prepare to commemorate the International Day for Universal Access to Information, I want to challenge us to reflect on how far we have come. Obviously, we've made some strides. We have made gains, but there have been also some misses in terms of the roles of journalists in promoting information as a public good.